Today I'm going to teach you how to make some easy beginner hoop earrings with beads. You're going to need some 4mm pearls or gemstones, some 0.4mm wire, some hoop earrings of a size that you like, and then in terms of tools, you're going to need some chain nose pliers, some cutters, and optionally some nylon jaw pliers. So before we begin, often when you get a piece of wire, especially if it's just come off a spool, it can be a little bit wiggly wobbly and sort of not as neat as it could be. If you use your nylon jaw pliers just there, you can just gently squeeze the plier, and as you pass it over the wire, it just smooths all of those little rough edges and kinks out and makes it very, very easy to work with. So now we're going to begin. I'm going to wrap my wire onto my little ear wire piece just here. So because I want to make sure it doesn't accidentally fall off, I'm going to attach it to this end here. So when you're actually wearing your piece, the front of your work is going to be, the front of your ear is going to be over here, and the back will be over here. But if you start with it attached to the back to begin with, you'll find that it ends up actually much, much easier to prevent it from falling off. So when you've got about maybe an inch or so of your wire, but if you just sort of pinch it approximately in place, around about, I don't know, a third, a quarter, like a bit less than a quarter of the way around for now. And we're going to just wrap that as tightly as we can around this little piece just here. So if you just keep doing a few wraps, try and get it as close as you can to each other. It doesn't matter too much if they're not exactly in position, because we will tighten them, but do it until you have, I don't know, 6 or 7 wraps. Doesn't matter how much. You don't need to do it till you run out. Just do it sort of this amount. Bunch it up a little bit, and then see how it'll still move. That's fine. We'll fix that up towards the end. But if we just cut this excess bit off at the end, it'll make our lives a bit easier, and we can neaten that up at the very, very end. So this is now attached to our wire, and we can actually start beginning doing our bead work. However you're going to hold it, if you prefer holding it this way, that's fine. If you prefer holding it this way, it's up to you, but you need to have your wire pointing at the top. So we're going to thread on our first little bead just here. We're going to just place our wire straight through that tiny little hole and thread it on down to our earring. So just poke the tip of your wire through the end and slide it on down now. So if you take a quick look at how I've got my piece just here, you can see I've got the wire on the front side here coming over the top of this edge. So I want to slide this bead right down to where it joins that little area where we've wrapped it onto the ear wire. I'm going to hold the bead in place, and then I'm going to just fold the wire, keeping the bead upright so that the bead sits above on the outside of the ear wire, and my working wire is now on the inside of the ring. Now all you got to do is just pull that wire through to the inside like this, and we're going to wrap it around the ear wire to lock it in place. So just wrap all the way around nice and tight and pull that through so that it is now locked nicely into position. So you'll see on this side there's almost no wire showing, and on the opposite side there's now a little wire piece, but that's fine because that's going to be the side that's closest to our skin. If you want to secure it even further, you can wrap around a second time. This is only optional. One wrap will be fine, but if you would prefer 2 wraps, you can do that too. Next, we're going to thread on our next bead, like so. Slide it on down in the same way, and just bring it above the ear wire like so. Hold it in position, and bend that wire down to the back. Get it fairly tight if you can, like so. Pull on it, pull the wire through the loop so that it's sitting like this, and then we're going to wrap around once and pull it through. And if you're going to do your second wrap, do that as well. There we go. And there's our second bead secured. Now you'll see there's a tiny bit of space between them. That's no problem. You can just push this back, and that will squeeze them a little bit closer to each other. And we'll add on our next few beads. So I've added about 8 beads now. You can see they've got their wire connecting them around on the back as well. But if you have a look, you might find that your wire is starting to get a little bit mashed from having done this process. At any point that you need to, just grab your wire straighteners and just flex it out to get it nice and neat again, and make it a little bit easier for yourself to continue working. So now I need to just do maybe 3 or 4 more beads is more than enough. You don't want it too full. You want to have some space at the back. 1, no one's ever going to see it at the back anyway. And 2, you don't want it too close to your ear as well. So I think 4 more beads will probably bring me somewhere to around about here. That's going to be more than enough. So here we go. I'm going to add on my 12th and final bead. So just slide that on down into position. And this time we're going to wrap even more times around. So we want it to match the start side. So just wrap once as before, pull it through, wrap 1. You can take it through the space there if that helps. 2, 3, 4, 5. Just try and keep your tension nice and tight as you do this, so that you've got some really nice clean loops just there. So keep wrapping, maybe once or twice more. And once you're happy with that and it's secure, you can just turn it over, take your cutters, and just bring them in flat side, with the flat side towards your ear wire, and just cut it nice and close to the ear wire. But if you look closely, you'll see there's still a teeny weeny little bit. It's just sticking out. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. But that potentially will catch on your hair or your clothes. Let's fix that up. So we'll take our chain nose pliers now, and let's just squeeze that little end into position and get it nice and neat. So just wrap it round like so. And we'll do the same with the one on the opposite end where we started from. Just squeeze it so it's nicely into position. Get it all neat. And now the last thing that we need to do is just position it for where you'd actually wear your piece. So if you have a look like this, the back, you don't need it to be full or anything like that. You also don't want it too close to your ear. So I'm pretty happy with this sort of position. So if you think about when you're wearing it, it'll sit about here. If you want to slide it up a tiny bit more, spread them out or keep them close. It doesn't matter how you do them exactly, but once you have it in the spot and position where you would like it to be, you can help to secure it just by giving that little end bit, not too hard, but a nice little squeeze to sort of flatten it a little bit onto this ear wire piece and prevent it from moving around too easily anymore. So just give it a good squeeze on that point, sort of just locks everything into position, and there you go. You've got your finished little ear wire just here. You can just snap that closed, and that's ready to wear. See, there's the backside, which if you prefer it visually like this, you can always wear it with this backside outwards. And now all you have to do is just make a second one. So there we go. There's a second one made in the exact same way. Now all you got to do is put them on and enjoy wearing them. Thanks very much for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.